Hi everybody, it's Lauren. Welcome back to my channel. And today we are continuing our Budgeting 101 series by talking about how to create a budget using a spreadsheet. We will also be talking about, in different videos, how to use just simply pen and paper, as well as Dave Ramsey's Every Dollar app, or the computer version is what I will be showing you. But I wanted to go over very briefly the spreadsheet that I have created for tracking my family's spending every single month. So I have blacked out some of our personal amounts here, but at least it gives you an idea. So if you did not know, if you get paid every other week, you actually get 3 paychecks for the month of November. So this month is going to look a little bit different than most months. And so I've incorporated that third paycheck into my tracking here. Couple things to keep in mind. We have talked about the different budgeting categories and the recommended percentages. And I have calculated all of that before making this spreadsheet a couple years ago. And so what you will see on my spreadsheet would be individual specific items that are within all of those different categories. They're just broken out differently on this spreadsheet. So really quick, I have a section for fixed expenses. These are usually bills or different expenses that are the exact same amount every single month. So things like our mortgage, our HOA, etc. Those things will always be that amount, at least for this year. I guess the one thing that does change for us for the month of November is childcare, because we do have 5 weeks that we are paying. We pay every week. So that goes up just a little bit, but everything else in here is going to be the exact same from month to month. And then we have our variable expenses. So these are still things that we can expect to pay every single month, but the amount that we spend can vary. So for example, our tithe is our giving. It is roughly 10%, but we subtract the amount that we give to missionaries from this amount. So it is automatically calculated based on our total income. Then in this huge blue section, we have what I generally call sinking funds. It is broken down, though, into our cash envelopes. That is everything that is shaded gray, as well as then our savings for every single month. And that's what a sinking fund is. It's you put money away little by little for a bigger expense. So for example, car insurance. We pay that every 6 months, but we save a little bit of that, so 1/6 of that payment every month. We put that directly into our savings so that when it comes time to pay, we don't have a huge amount of that month's income going towards car insurance. I hope that makes sense. And then it allows for a couple other things to be added depending on what's going on that month. So for example, this year, November, we do need a new Christmas tree. We just had a wimpy old, what my husband called a Charlie Brown Christmas tree. And so we are going to invest in a really good tree. And since November, we do get 3 paychecks. We have a little bit of flexibility to invest. We're estimating $400. I highly doubt we're going to spend nearly that much. But just in case, that's what we put on there. I'd rather have budgeted too much and have money left over than not have enough and then feel stressed about buying that Christmas tree. And then finally here I have the category of debt, and you can see all of the different things that we pay towards. And I won't break it down too much, but there's these 2 credit cards. We don't have any balance on those whatsoever, so I just haven't removed them. And we've paid off both Edson's car and one of his student loans this year, so you can see they're paid off. And then we have 2 more student loans and my car to pay. And so we pay one large lump sum towards his 2 student loans. And then once it actually divvies up the money, then I adjust the actual amounts for where that total of $547 went. I'm not going to get into all the nitty-gritty of my budget. I don't really know how much you care about all the different numbers, but I wanted you to see what this could actually look like. Now, if you are not a complete nerd like I am, if you are a little more of a 50-50 maybe, between a nerd and a free spirit, your budget does not have to be this complicated. But I would highly recommend you have your category or your line item the budgeted amount, and then how much you actually spent. That's what these columns here are for. And so once I actually spend the money, for example, my mortgage comes out the first business day of the month, I will put that amount here, and then it is now considered paid. And then all the way on the right is the remainder. So how much money do I have left for the month for that specific category or line item? Okay. If something is in bold, like this one here, it has not actually been spent yet. So that money has not been taken out, but it is expected to be taken out. Okay. So once I pay my tithe, I will unbold that so I know that I have actually written that check. So we are budgeting for 3 paychecks, so it's going to be a lot more than what we're used to. And so I did kind of beef up some of our cash envelopes as well as some of our savings for this month. So when I do this for December, you'll notice that the numbers are very different. And then, so for example, here our gas actually came out before November hit, and so I've already marked that as being spent. But then we have savings that are automatically transferred, and I know that our emergency savings transfer comes out within the first 10 days of the month, and so it's expected here, and I've already considered that. And so, yeah, really, I want to make sure with this kind of budget, this is called a zero-based budget, that I assign every single dollar a name. Okay, so I have all of my different categories. Every single dollar I expect to be making this month has to be budgeted somewhere. I don't care where exactly it is, but I cannot have a remainder. So what I do to make sure I am keeping track of every single dollar that comes in and goes out is I have this table over here. I have each category is totaled up, and so that there's just a basic formula that is taken from each category over here on the left. And then my remainder, so my budgeted amount and how much I have left. And then each paycheck gets taken out from my incoming cash flow over here. And so I can't spend more than I make, right? Otherwise my checking account would go negative. So this helps me keep track throughout the month how I am doing in that aspect. You can see here it's already showing some negative amounts, and that's because there are these expected payments or transfers, and that money has not happened yet, so that's why it's negative. So at this point, I have a little over $1,300 I have to assign somewhere. And I wanted to show you that because as you are working through your November budget, which I highly recommend you do as soon as possible, you figure out where all this money is going to go. I have assigned almost all of my money like I normally do. I've beefed up a couple sections. For example, our groceries are rarely ever $300. Believe it or not, we do about $200 to $250. So I said, you know what? Let's get an extra $50 in that category. Same thing with our entertainment. I beefed that up a little bit. And then same thing with Christmas. I wanted to beef up Christmas because we have a new baby, right? He's 9 months right now. And we didn't really think about how much we wanted to spend for his gifts. So otherwise, so I was able to allow for $400 for a Christmas tree. But really, there's nothing else I need or plan on spending this extra money on because I am working on baby step number 2. We haven't talked a whole lot about the baby steps from Dave Ramsey, but baby step number 1 is building up a starter or a baby emergency fund of $1,000. If you make less than $20,000 in a year, then you would save only $500. That is just in case of a basic small emergency until you pay off all your debt. Baby step number 2 is paying off all your debt. You would list them smallest to largest by your total amount. It's not based off of interest rate. And you pay them off smallest to largest using the debt snowball method. And so with that, you need to be very laser focused on paying off your debt as quickly as possible. I already have my baby emergency fund in place. And so now we are on baby step number 2. So what I want to do with this remainder amount of money is put it straight towards my debt. Okay, so what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to just stick it here. For my own sake, I want to keep that 547 number visible so that I know that's my basic amount, but I'm paying an extra $13.56 this month, and I'm going to put that here, $13.56. Okay, now if I look here, my remainder is 0. That's how I want to start my month. I have assigned every single dollar a category. Okay, and so now when November hits, I can start tracking all of my expenses, and I'm going to balance this fairly often. I highly encourage you to balance your budget at least halfway through the month, and then obviously at the end of the month. I do it weekly minimum. I will sometimes go in multiple times, but it's up to you based on your spending habits and everything, because if you're using cash, there's not a whole lot to balance from every single day's purchases, because you're using cash and you're not having to reconcile your checking account. However, if you don't use cash, if you just use your debit card, or let's say you haven't taken out cash yet and you went to the grocery store, you have to balance that and make sure that your budget spreadsheet here matches your checking account online. Okay? So, one thing I'll say with my cash envelopes, I will be doing another video once I go to the bank and get this cash so that you can see me stuffing my envelopes. I will talk more about my different categories that we use cash on, but this is everything that we have. And I have a little table here that helps me know how many of each denomination of bills I want to get from the bank. For example, with groceries, I find it easiest to simply take out 20s. But let's say for H&B, that's our toiletries, okay, health and beauty aids. I want one $20 bill, one 10, and two 5s, okay? That totals $40. Entertainment is usually easy enough to just do 20s, but I need 150, so I'll do 7 20s and one 10. And I'll do that all the way down, okay? So this is how much I need in cash. And then this would be how many 20s, 10s, and 5s I need from the bank. Okay? Now, sometimes I break this out half and half throughout the month because of how much money I need to spend from my first paycheck. Okay? A lot of money comes out right away because of my mortgage. So, example, for this month, there is quite a bit. So, things that I'm not going to need right away, I will wait until the second half of the month or until I get my next paycheck. But there are other months that I just take it all out at once because I have that money available in the bank. And so what I'll do is just on a small piece of paper, I will write down I need to cash out $1,280. I need 8 20s, 2 10s, 2 5s. That's obviously not the right numbers, but you get the idea. And I give that piece of paper to the teller. And it makes it really easy and really fast. I am in and out in about 5 minutes. They love it. I love it. Makes my life easier. Okay? So from here, I will then start tracking all of our spending. Okay, so you can see I already told you one of our bills was paid before November hit, and so that has been tracked here. And then at the end of the month, I'm going to look and see how much money do I have left over, and that's going to show here. How much money is left over? I need to give every single dollar from this leftover amount a name, okay? Now, I leave notes in my spreadsheet all the time, so any cell that has a little red triangle in the corner has a note for me. And I have here, use the debt snowball. Okay, so all this money that is left over come November 30th is going to go straight towards my debt, which in theory should be right around what I'm projecting of $13.56. Okay, there is some fluctuation. Maybe I don't spend all of my gas money. Maybe if we, I don't know, what else? That's the biggest item I would say that fluctuates the most for us. But whatever money is left over, then I'm going to put straight towards our debt and make another payment towards Edson's student loans because that is the smallest one we are working towards. Okay? I will also set at least one monthly goal for myself. If it is a no spend month, like my friend Rachel is doing for October, she would have a monthly goal of not spending anything extra from what she had originally planned. Sometimes I will say we are not going to use our debit card. Or I might say we need to have our car serviced, get for an oil change. I'm going to make sure I get that done this month. Whatever it is, one month it was a garage sale. That's going to go here. And if I succeed in that goal, I'll mark it off as green. And I can then look back throughout the year and see which monthly goals I've achieved. Some of you might think that I am absolutely crazy for being so detailed. But that's how I like to do it. And so a couple other quick things about the spreadsheet that I use. I have a template tab, which is going to look just like this, except it doesn't have the month up here, and it only has the 2 paychecks. Okay? And then that is my starter budget. It's the template for every single month, and then I just tweak a couple things every month, copy that entire sheet and paste it into my month. So then for December, once November is close to being over, I'll paste the template in here and make my adjustments before December begins. Okay. I also have a spot for savings, and this is going to list out everything that I am saving for. There's a lot of different things in here, and I'm just going to do this very quick. But these are like electronic cash envelopes, so to speak. So everything that I have over here in my sinking funds category, all of these things end up going directly into my savings as a transfer online, and then I track it here. So our car tabs, how much are we spending on car tabs, and how much do we need to save every month? And once I pay it, I subtract it from here. Okay. And then our debt snowball. This is us paying off our debts every single month. I'm a little behind, maybe just a month or two of tracking everything. Now this does not account for interest, but as I make a payment, I mark it here, and you can see the numbers go down. Once it's paid off, it gets highlighted and shown as the balance of being 0. Okay. That is generally it. Again, you can do whatever you want with your own spreadsheet for a budget. Some people have a very basic table, no formulas or anything, and that's totally fine. You can do whatever you want, but if you are a complete nerd, make it look pretty if you want. Add all the formulas in that you want. But the biggest thing I would say if you are married is make sure that your spouse is on board with whatever it is you decide to do. I do maintain this spreadsheet, but Edson understands it, and he knows where all the money is going, and I show him our plan for the month before the month begins, and he is allowed to make any changes that he wants. But usually there are not very many changes because we get roughly the same amount of money every single month. So I hope that this was helpful for everybody. I went through this really fast. As we get into more detail of budgets and categories and various things, I will probably bring this up some more and go in more depth as needed for people. But I wanted to at least give you, as quick as I can, a high-level overview. I know this video is already getting kind of long, but the next video I plan on putting up for you guys would be me going to the bank and getting out my cash for November, and then you will see me stuff my cash envelopes, and I will explain those in the next video. If you have any comments or questions for me, please leave them in the comments below. Like this video if you enjoyed it. If you want to see more of these, also give this video a thumbs up so that I know to keep posting more of these. I do plan on doing these every month going forward. If there's anything else that you want to see, let me know in the comments. If you are not subscribed to my channel, please do so and turn on those notifications so that you are made aware of when I post another one of these budgeting videos. Thank you so much for watching, and we will talk to you later. Bye!